I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tyler, do you want to do a quick abbreviated version of
It looks like everybody on here is familiar with the Zoom instructions. Everybody will have a chance to talk on the open floor. But until then, please make sure your microphones are muted unless you're called upon.
Thank you. We'll start with introductions. Guy.
Guy Dalton, Street Utility Superintendent.
Aiden Strickland, Clerk Treasurer, 783 South Clearwood Drive.
Brent Slauson, Member at Large, 95 Penner Drive.
Dan Rippey, council member, 126 Lakeside Court, Ward 2.
Ollie Weber, Member at Large, 822 South Clear Lake Drive.
Bert Elliott, Council Member, Ward 3, 1058 South Clear Lake Drive.
George Schenkel, Council Member, Ward 1, 144 West Clear Lake Drive.
Tyler Williams, zoning administrator.
Chris Summer, Town Marshal.
Thanks, everybody. And I think everybody did a great job. Let's speak in the microphones, especially since we have some people on Zoom. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging for them to hear everything. And probably when Nathan goes and listens to the tape afterwards. So now I'll entertain an approval of the agenda. If anybody has any additions or changes or a motion to move forward as presented.
I would make the motion to approve the agenda as written.
This is Brent, I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We will now move to the minutes of the March 18th meeting. I think we've all gotten our corrections to Nathan and he's made those changes as far as I saw. So I will, unless somebody has any changes, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
George, I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
This is Bert, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Nathan, we'll have you present the March and April voucher register and warrant, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This voucher runs from March 18th through April 14th. On the general side, it was a pretty quick month, so we only had 2 pay files. We had 75 transactions on the general side for a total of $63,710.03. Everything's pretty standard on the general side, except for we had some quoting with the generator quoting. That was something that we had ERI come out and take a look at, and Guy worked with them. He can speak a little bit more on that. On the sewer side, there is a total of 30 transactions, and you'll see the $3,825.75 for a generator quoting on the sewer side. So those were the 2 transactions that really stuck out for this month. On the sewer side, there was 30 transactions for a total of $23,524.19. So I'm looking for an approval for a total of $87,234.22. Any questions? I can take those now.
Does anybody have any questions for Nathan?
I have go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if the changes were updated.
That you give me, yes.
Okay.
And I have a question on the ERI invoice. The detail of it shows that Vermeer and locating, we had some meetings regarding that. Unless we have equipment and we're just talking to them, shouldn't that be a sales call at their expense and not at our expense?
I'll let the people that talk to them set the meeting.
So that is us researching locators that will be compatible with our GIS system. Is what that is. They are, ERI is helping us come up with a locator that is compatible with GIS.
Okay, was Vermeer present?
No,
No,
Vermeer's-
so just ERI, okay.
Yeah, it was just ERI.
ERI, okay.
Yes.
I had a vision with Vermeer being mentioned or a specific vendor that they were there and billing us for the sales call.
No,
I have an issue with being billed for sales calls, so, okay, thank you.
no.
And I just had similar questions, because when I look at what we have, it's over $4,200. So I don't know, where are we on either getting a locator versus having numerous meetings, or, several of this is the locator I see has been going on since January. I know we talked a lot about it. So I didn't know if there was an update. If you could just give us all an update on it.
We've got it narrowed down to about 3 right now. We
Okay,
had a meeting Friday
okay.
and went through and got it narrowed down. So,
And then you guys are evaluating the 3, and then you'll come back to council with a proposal.
Right, we did paper capability study on 3 different suppliers of locators. And then a compatibility down select for the ArcGIS system that we have. We've got it down to 3 units, and we're gonna set up a demonstration on a lake, a location to use each of those top choices.
Okay.
From which I will make a recommendation.
Okay, thank you. And when do we expect closure on, like, May, June?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. And then on the generator, I know we kind of changed with our emergency preparedness, looking at a generator that might have more capacity than what we were initially looking at. Do you have an update that you could provide? And if you don't, you could provide at the next meeting.
that was basically, we went through and I gathered more information for ERI to
Okay,
update to move to the next step that we updated to.
okay,
So we synced up the concept of operations, which I think that was consistent with the emergency planning discussions that went on. As Guy said, he provided some schematics of the current state of the wiring. ERI is going to take that information with the new concept of operations and develop some bid documents.
okay, perfect.
I did ask for a kind of a systems review, which is a very upfront look, just to check the understanding that we're communicating, our needs properly
Mhm.
before they go off and spend a lot of money developing paperwork.
Okay.
So,
Sorry for all the questions. Until I went through the voucher and then I went back and found Nathan's email and all this. I was like, oh, okay, that's where all that's coming
Great
from.
question.
So, thank you very much. Anybody have any other questions for Nathan on the voucher register and warrant? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
so I would make a motion to approve the voucher as written.
This is Brent, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much, Nathan. Now we'll move on to new business. And this is about pest control contract. And I know we have probably, I think there were about 5 different ones that were shared with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Nathan, to really just maybe before we go into details on this, maybe talk about what the scope of the problem is. And then we'll go from there. And Guy, feel free if you need to.
I don't know if we have a big scope of problem, it's just I keep seeing the ACE bills come through and I was a little annoyed by how much they cost. So I was looking for some lower costing options. So I think me and Guy talked about what we need around the building. We just need a basic, in the summertime, every other 6 weeks.
Yeah, about every 6 weeks to spray for spiders.
And in the wintertime, we don't need quite as much as what they were trying to provide. So I just have a real basic, Are we pulling these up? Over there?
Yeah, I'm on the first one right now.
So Ace, the bottom line is $432 a year. The next one for Orkin,
And that's who we're using now.
right,
And have we been happy with them?
Other than they spray the windows notoriously right after I clean windows.
other than that,
Other than that.
Let me just chime in, that's a standard operating procedure. You're not special if you think you are.
That's fair, that is true.
Before you go through the details, the thing that I was struggling with is the scope of work was different across these bids.
Mhm.
So have you normalized the scope of work in the pricing?
I went through and I looked and I tried to break them all down by 4 times a year. And what the cost would be for 4 times per year. So, I can give you those numbers. But that's what I tried to do to give us a average or a median. Kind of look at it.
Is that, the basis for your eventual recommendation to us?
I would say,
Is your normalized 4 times a year treatment numbers?
I would say probably 5 times a year, 1 extra in the summertime. So, you know,
Eventually, I'd like to hear those, but if you wanna give us
yes.
any
just-
other details on each supplier, what you liked, what you didn't like.
I didn't actually get all these, Bob was getting these.
No.
That was something that we had Bob working on, so this was something that I did not dive into detail on this, I was working on a lot of other things as well. So I can give you the bottom line, I didn't talk to all these people, I didn't get all the information. And unfortunately Bob isn't here, so we can't have him speak to that. So the bottom line, working, is 432 is the exact same price as Ace. There's a big packet, it's like 10 pages, I'm gonna try to scroll through that. The next one is Rose. Rose, would be $320 a month, so it'd be $100 cheaper, or I mean, $320 a year. So that'd be about $100 cheaper. Next one is Shipes Spraying Service. Do you know them?
Yeah,
Do you like them?
yeah, they do, they spray our barns and stuff for us, so.
So Shipes was a little bit more, they were $100 each treatment, but they want to do a 6 to 8 week rotation every, treatment, so that would be, end up being quite a bit more. Terminex, they would be $567.24 a year. So that's basically, I just had Bob look at some of the different options we had out there. And that's what we came up with. I didn't go into big detail of around exactly what chemicals they're using or anything like that. I was just trying to find something that she could.
Well, to pick up on the comment that Dan made, making sure that we're comparing apples to apples with these bids and the scope of work. Instead of sending this 21 pages, that I'll be honest, I did not read.
Right.
The print's pretty small in some of them. But I think what would be more beneficial, and I speak for myself, not for the council here, but to have a spreadsheet of these 5 and with the scope of service punched out, spiders, rodents, cockroaches, whatever they're, advertising, and the cost per year and the frequency of it. And if we looked at that in its entirety, it would be very, very clear.
Okay.
Otherwise, my head started swirling here with these 21 pages. I expected Terminex to be the highest because they had 10 pages and it wasn't more.
They were those, I think Shipes was the most at 575.
Okay, and that was a 1 pager, so it blows my theory, but at any rate, from an analytical standpoint, it'd be nice to compare apples across the board, and if there's something unusual, we need to, do we want that in the charges or?
And maybe not even going through all the extensive, punch lists, because I look at Rose and they've got rats, mice, ants, and I was like, what's this could be problem for you? But maybe, the two of you agree, okay, we need the spiders, do we need inside once a year, or do we need it, or don't we? Or is it just a perimeter, and maybe calling them and just saying, can you quote us what it would be? to do every 6 to 8 weeks through this season. And see what they all come back with. That way, Nathan, you're not having to go through all these pages. And just take whatever the two of you think we need here.
I think this might be a perfect example of information overload.
Yeah.
So, let's take this back a step. Me and Guy will come up with a recommendation for next month and we'll.
Just call them all and say, hey, here's what we're looking for a price on, and be done with it.
Yeah.
Thank you both very much on this.
I was just trying to save you tons of money.
It's great, Nathan. I think it's very important, and we all have to be good stewards. I think it's wonderful. Because you don't know, it's like we all need to do it at home and. So we'll plan on revisiting that in May under, unfinished business. And now I think the next one is Guy on the fastener.
So we have been running, it seems like a lot to get common sizes of nuts and bolts. So I got in contact with Global Fasteners, out of Toledo, Ohio. They provide a service where they come once a month, once a week, bi-monthly, however I decided to set it up and check the inventory of our bins, give us a quote of what we need replaced, and then they'll bring them out the following week, and that is all free of charge. As long as we buy our fasteners from them, they keep the inventory up. And then I went through and did some price comparison. Like, I just took a random size bolt, which is I used a 1/4 by 20 by 2-inch bolt. From Fremont Hardware, they're 49 cents a piece. There's another company similar to Gogol that I looked up, and they were 23 cents a piece for that bolt. And Gogol was 11 cents, and they bring them to us and we don't have to chase them down. Or keep track of inventory, and those bolts, to buy them in bulk at one of the farm stores, are approximately $4.29 a pound. There is no monthly contract on it. They do our inventory at no cost. They come back and restock the bins for the price of the hardware. And we were gonna split it between Sewer and MVH because we use bolts in both places. So, and this company also will be able to, they're updating their pipe fittings and things of that, and check valves and shut off valves and stuff like that, which is things that we're starting to use more of. And they would be able to do the same thing with those.
I just have a couple questions.
Okay,
So what happens with our current inventory?
we don't have a current inventory.
We have nothing, absolutely.
We
nothing.
have, you could fit it in, I have to coffee can is what we keep around here.
So then what we have, then you would put in these
Yes.
respective bins. We
Yes.
wouldn't get rid of what we have. We would take our small quantity and
Yep.
incorporate it into the appropriate bin.
Yes,
Okay. And then my next question is, I know this is Toledo, Ohio. Did we check with Fastenal at all?
the last time I checked with Fastenal, it was absolutely outrageous.
And when was that?
Within the last year, because I looked into doing it at home.
Okay,
So I could go to town and restock my bins out of TSC or Rule King, do it myself and cost me 1/3 of what it would cost me to have them do it.
okay.
I think Tyler, you had experience.
Yes,
All that was.
it's leaves a lot to be desired for a lot higher cost.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll just put it that way.
No, that's good. I just, as a Indiana municipality, I think we should try to keep things as local as we can. When we
This-
can and when it's appropriate.
And this is a family-owned company. It's 2 sisters and a brother that run it. It's not going to 100% eliminate us having to go to town, but for the common things, it will. You know, if we need a 7/8 bolt 5 inches long, we're still gonna have to go to Higbee's and get that, because it's just not feasible to stock those.
So this 562 gas, I know you don't know how much, you're gonna run into, but that supplies us for how long would you say?
I would guess that after the initial cost, we might have $50 a year in it.
Okay,
Wonder if I might add something too.
sure.
$40.46 of that is tax, which we wouldn't be
We wouldn't be
charged.
paying anyway.
So it'd actually be 522.01.
Thank you. Great, thanks, guys. Anybody have any other questions for Guy or Tyler on this?
I don't know if you said or if I missed it, do they provide the bins?
Yes, the bin is in the quote.
372.
Okay, and it's, is it some type of a rack? or
It is
do
a
you need-
steel bin that sits on our.
So it's freestanding, so we don't need
Yes.
to add anything
Correct.
to support it, okay.
And you have room for it.
Yes,
And we own it.
we own it.
Oh, when it's said
So,
and done.
Yeah, once we buy it, we own it. So if,
Okay.
10 years down the road, we want to do it ourselves, we can go buy our own bolts. We own everything.
And when could they set this up? Like, say we vote and approve it tonight, when could this be set up?
Within the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
And do they give you an inventory,
This is.
like an annual usage inventory?
Yeah.
Yep, or they give you a printout?
We'll get it, it'll be printed, so we'll get our monthly, whatever we get from month to month will be on there of what we've used. So she said the first year will be a little weird because they'll be getting used to how much stuff we actually go through. But after that, she goes, we'll pretty much have it dialed in to where we know.
and are you planning on, I'm sorry, Bert, are you planning on just having them come once a month? to
Yeah.
Start, is that, okay, so then you know when they're coming and
Yeah.
we don't have somebody else just wandering around out the barn?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
And then, there's no like contract with this?
No contract.
No minimums, none of that?
And if you were to just buy bins and buy what you think would be an annual usage of bulk once a year, I think you were suggesting that would be equal to or more expensive
It would, well.
based on the price comparison.
Right, and the quality of bin is not there. You can't go to Menards or TSC and buy that.
Surely you could buy it though.
You could, but it's not one that's a standard item. So,
I see savings in gas, so not driving back and forth time, effort, energy.
I kind of figured it's, by the time you go to the hardware store and get the bolts you need for the project, you're burning 45 minutes every time you do it.
Yeah, but you're changing the way you're operating the shop, which I applaud you to doing, not running to the hardware every time you make a quarter point bolt.
Right.
You would do that. My suggestion is you would do that. One way of doing that is to buy a set of commercial bins and filling it up once a
Yeah.
year. The other way is to do this service. If we get an inventory list where you can, year over year, understand your needs, I think there's benefits
Right.
to that. So, as long as we're not paying a lot more for the hardware.
No, and that was one of my questions and I went through and sorted it out that way to figure that out.
Yeah, as long as somebody knows who's coming in, when they're coming in, so we don't have.
Yeah, and there's.
Sometimes we're out in the barn doing.
Yeah, she goes to, I'll know because she goes to SDI on Tuesdays
Okay.
down in Butler.
Thank you for responding to all the questions, Guy, very, very helpful.
So Guy, when you say they're coming back out the next week to restock after they do an inventory check,
Right.
are you really meaning they're coming out the next week, or do you have a month in between where they're
they're-
restock?
She's in Butler every week. And then she's actually working on going to Higbee's now and a couple other farms in the area. So,
In addition to the hardware, sounds like they're moving to some different areas. What about disposable PPE?
they have all that. I was cruising around their website, but it's under construction. So there is way more than I thought I was ever gonna run into when I started looking for bolts.
And sorry, personal protective equipment.
Yeah. They have safety glasses, they have hearing protection, they have, I mean, they have abrasive products,
That's the next question, because I know you're gonna be using grinder wheels and things
Yeah.
along those lines. From a past life, this was very beneficial to a couple companies that I work for. Is bringing in services like this. It saves time. To Dan's point, it's a very good tool for inventory, understanding what your safety stock should be on certain levels and where you see a change in patterns. So,
yeah, because
I
when
think
you
it's
need a quarter inch stainless steel bolt, if Higbee's isn't open, you don't get it around here.
so I can appreciate the efforts. And I think it's a good idea.
Did you mention whether or not it was currently expandable to plumbing fittings or they're?
They are right now, but they don't have a wide, they aren't up into the 2 and 3 inch stuff yet, but they're getting there.
Great. Thank you, Guy, for answering all of our questions and the information. So now we've heard of a presentation on the fasteners, so I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the quote for $522.01. The total length tag, Vogel fastener and industrial instead of hardware. A hardware set of bins and stock in the barn.
We have a motion. Could I have a second?
This is Brent. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Guy. Yeah, let's just make sure they're not going out there when you're not here or somebody can't escort them out there. We have too much out there. The next item on the agenda under unfinished business is the planning and zoning fee schedule ordinance 2025-03. And the first thing we'll do is, Tyler, if you could do a brief overview. I know we've been through this several times, so just an overview of
So just a brief overview.
how this came to be.
I noticed this was kind of thing on my predecessor's desk before, and then Dan and Molly brought this up to my attention that this needed to be completed or at least looked into. So we finished up some of the research, made some adjustments. Talking to Dan, he really helped me out with this quite a bit. Just to get us in line more where other municipalities are charging for their zoning and planning services and needs. A lot of these variances, anything up for the planning commission involves a lot of mailing, it involves a lot of legal advice, all of which has went up significantly since 10 years ago when the fees were last changed. This is kind of aimed towards helping alleviate some of those issues.
Thank you, Tyler. Now I'll ask Dan or Bert as plan commission members and guys, if there's anything any of the three of you want to share on this.
It's about 3 years in the making. I've been working with the zoning administration office to ensure that we get the right balance between the cost of the town associated with our chosen and UDO ordinance and costs that are driven by individual homeowners. It was compared to the cost. We've had 3 revisions. The first couple of revisions were compared back to ordinances in other communities, and then just smaller town related costs. It's a combination of all of those trades that has led us to the proposed version that we're considering tonight.
I think Dan said it very well.
I say Jim's also on with you on this
Yeah,
one.
since he hasn't raised and we have to go to public comment, I think having heard from three of you that sit on planning commission. So now I will entertain a motion to introduce the ordinance by title and number, and this, would require a motion in a second. And these are just the steps we need to take. This is just moving this forward.
Okay, I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance 2025-03. An ordinance amending the planning and zoning fee schedule for the town of Clear Lake.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
This is Bert, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, and now we'll do a roll call vote, Nathan, to introduce the ordinance.
Roll call vote to introduce the ordinance. Brent Slauson, what say you?
For clarification, this is just to introduce. the
Yes, it's a
ordinance.
motion to introduce.
Yes.
Dan Rippey, what say you?
Yes.
Molly Weber, what say you?
Yes.
Bert Elliott, what say you?
Yes.
George Schinkle, what say you?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a simple majority. We actually have 5-5. So now the next component, which I think is where, the next step is, I will now consider, we need a motion to consider the ordinance tonight. We would need unanimous consent for all present. So I would need a motion for unanimous consent to consider the ordinance.
This is George. I move that we have unanimous consent regarding ordinance number 2025-03.
We have a motion and a second. Or we need a second.
Yes, this is Dan. I'll second that.
Thank you. So now what we would need to do to move this forward, we need unanimous consent. So this will be the roll call vote.
All right, in this matter, Brent Slauson, what say you?
Yes.
Dan Rippey, what say you?
Yes.
Molly Weber, what say you?
Yes.
Bert Elliott, what say you?
Yes.
And George Schinkle, what say you?
Yes.
Okay, Brent, you surprised me now.
Wasn't for approval.
No, but now we can make the motion to approve the ordinance. So now I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance by name and title.
This is Bert, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-03. An ordinance amending the planning and zoning fee schedule for the town of Clear Lake by title.
Okay, and then we need a second.
George, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Now we'll do a roll call vote.
All right, in this matter, Brent Slauson, what say you?
While I agree and understand the need for an increase for the fee schedule, I vote as nay. Due to previously stated comments, the root cause for our high cost to monitor is the community as a whole adopted our UDO and the changes since. Therefore, a majority of the cost should not be placed on an individual property owner. The percentage of increased fees should have been laid out in a multi-year plan similar to the sewer and the trash, with multiple fees increasing by 100%, 300%, 400%, even 500%. Many people budget to build, and this is a disservice to them.
Dan Rippey, what say you?
Yes.
Molly Weber, what say you?
Yes.
Bert Elliott, what say you?
Yes.
And George Schinkle, what say you?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion carries with the 4-1 vote. So now Tyler will move forward with the posted process and everything and work with Mike Hawk and then planning commission and everything that needs to be done. Because it has to be published before it can ever go into effect. Even though we've approved it, it has to be published. Thank you, everybody, for their work on that one. We will now move to council reports. And Nathan, I believe you are up with the financial report. And I think you also wanted to provide a quarterly update.
Yeah, so what I have here is. So the appropriation report is what we use to gauge where we're at, through this point of the year. As a percentage of what's left and budgeted on the very right. So through 3 months, we should be right about 75%. With each of the categories, so all of the categories that you see in green are right where we should be, or we're a little bit ahead of where we should be. If you leave it on that first page, please.
Yeah, we're trying to get a little bit lower, but we're not go.
So, I'll just kind of read through the ones that I am a little bit, anxious about. The first one is telephone and online. This one's a little bit deceiving. We've had some problems with our cell phones. Molly can attest to this. We've been trying to get a, rebate from them for a while, and they've been, dragging their feet, I guess I could say. So that category should come in line here in the next month with that rebate. That should be coming, because the rebate's almost $400. The next one is heat. So apparently we've been going through a little bit more money, and it's been a little bit colder this year. So we've been going through a little bit more money in the furnace. Attorney fees is the next one. Attorney fees were at 44.75% of where of what we have left, which is considerably lower than we should be. Attorney fees is something that we've been struggling with the last few years, and we can all attest to the fact that we like to do that. Other professional services, these are services that we use for professional companies that come in. So it's not a good, it's more of a service. What's that?
That's it. The rest might move it down a little more, but I think it's gonna jump if we do.
Okay. And the last one on this one is membership and dues. We're right at 65%. So usually at the beginning of the year, we get a lot more of the membership dues that we need to pay. So that was not all that surprising.
Is there any action on the ones you highlighted or that you need to?
As far as the telephone online, no, we're just waiting for the rebate to come through. Attorney fees, I think you can attest to the end that we're trying to lower those fees every month, but and I talked to Dave today, and we're expecting to come closer and closer to the professional services. We may need to revisit this one, but we're not too far off. We're at 70%, so we're doing okay with that one. And membership and dues, like I said, that's usually a fact that most of the membership and dues come through at the beginning of the year.
Nathan, does the HR consultant go into professional fees?
Yes.
Okay.
Into the next category, which is MVH, that's our motor vehicle highway. That's a lot of the stuff that's out in the shop, that's a lot of stuff that Guy deals with. We are a little bit low on the town manager, and that's the cost associated with Guy. He's had a little bit of overtime beginning of the year. So we may need to adjust that category a little bit. Same thing with the Social Security, Medicare. They're not too far off. We'll see where they end up. We can start at the middle of the year. We'll see if we can readjust that. Sand and salt, we're just about done with that. We've spent all the money on sand and salt for the year. Snow and tree removal, we're down to 50% on that one because we've been doing a lot of the tree removal around the lake, so that's good. So MVH, everything is pretty good.
So sand and salt guy, are we gonna be able to carry ourselves till the next year's budget and inventory?
Fingers crossed, we should be able to get to the first of the year.
With what we have now.
Or at least not get billed till the first of the year. Because if we get it in the middle of December, they won't bill us until the first part of January.
Alright, so the next category is LIT. This is all local income tax for our police, fire, things like that. All those categories are looking great. There's no real issues with any of those. They're all looking great. CCD, we're looking good there as well. The only two categories we're gonna be spending money this year is attorney fees, we haven't touched that yet. And engineers and surveys, we haven't touched that yet. On the sewer ops side, everything looks good. Down until we get to operating, we're at 42.47%. And this is the sewer operating account. So this is the one that gets the most action when we're just doing normal sewer work, repairs, things like that. Attorney fees, obviously, we're down to 26% on the sewer side for attorney fees. We've had a lot of attorney fees on the appellate side, which are a lot more expensive. It's almost $750 an hour on the appellate side, and the appellate side is all coming out of the sewer. So that's a big portion of the money that's coming out of the sewer. The other one is sewer operating capital expenses. That is all related to the truck. We all have been talking about the truck for the last 6 months. So that's what that category has been hit, just by the truck. And sewer depreciation. No, sewer depreciation, that is the truck. Other capital expenses, that was the condo project, or the condo project, I'm sorry. Depreciation of the truck. And then on the sanitation side, everything's fine. So that's just kind of a basic run through of the things that I look at every day. And the things that are in red or yellow are the ones that give me anxiety, and those are the ones that I keep my attention on. And those are the ones that we probably have to revisit when we rebalance our funds halfway through the year like we did last year. So that's kind of where we're at, but as far as where we're at, there's just a couple categories that we were off, mainly it's the attorneys. And I'm gonna credit a lot of that with George doing a really good job on the salary and wages, getting all those numbers aligned, and the budget committee, because we did a pretty good job of getting everything to where we're right where we should be this time of year. So, and obviously I'll keep track of it, and we'll do this again halfway through the year. And at that point, we may need to do a little bit of recalibrating of where we might need to add or increase in funds. Any questions for me?
Any questions for me?
So there's a couple of those that we probably need to have a shorter leash on as far as when this pull the string for an additional appropriation. So you highlighted it in red. But let's look at it month to month here and see if we need an additional appropriation. Or if the expenses are high now and they're not linear. In other words, it's not a recurring month to month kind of thing. Right.
I have one other update. So I think everybody's aware of the SB1 bill that has been in the State House. What this is really pertaining to is property taxes. And it's going to have a lot of impacts on states, cities, towns. So what I did today is I called the main policy guy, AIM, which is our advocacy group for Indiana. And the first few drafts of the bill, a town like ours potentially could have seen a 30 to 40% cut in revenue. At this point, where we're at, these are hard numbers, and I'm going to send this email out to you guys tomorrow. For the year 2026, we're looking at about a 4.9% reduction in revenue. So that's very good compared to what we were potentially expecting. 2027.
You translate that into dollars, thank you.
You can see that in the email tomorrow.
I think I saw it's like 29,000.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'll share the email with you guys tomorrow.
And that 20, yeah.
I hesitate to even bring this up because I don't want you guys to ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah, well, there's a table that shows the numbers, that's why.
Right, and I have two tables that are even better. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys. Okay. 2027, our decrease is, or 2027, our decrease is expected to be about 7.4%. 2028 is a kicker because that is when the LIT rates are going to be reset. And communities like ours are gonna have to reset our LIT rates ourselves. So in 2028, our revenue hit is gonna be 12.9%, but that is with no LIT money at all. So when we reset our LIT money in 2028, we can reset it at the exact rate that we have that now. Or whatever rate we decide.
There's a range.
There is a range.
There's a range.
Yeah. So the 12.9 is not going to be the exact number because it doesn't have in the LIT money that we are going to read up on. So those are the numbers that AIM gave me just this afternoon. So it makes me feel a lot better because we're not anywhere near the 25, 30, or 40% revenue cut that we were looking at. So that is the information update I have on that. Now I'll give you guys all an email tomorrow with hard concrete numbers.
Yeah, and the only other point, and it'll be interesting to see how those numbers align. I got the numbers from the Steuben County Economic Development Group. You know, they list out every town, and those are hard numbers, and basically, yeah, there is a reduction in the property tax. But it's a reduction of the increase, right? So if you look at the numbers, under the old regime, our increase next year would be 7.7%. Under the new, it's 2.9, right? So that's why that's why I was like, well, if we could just see the numbers, and then we can see what we're basing the percentages off of. And I'm sure there's probably some play in the numbers as well, but just looking at the ones that came from Steuben County, I think it looks like, you know, we'll be able to live with this.
Yeah, and those numbers don't include the increase in assessed value that the expected increase in assessed value of 1.2% or whatever it is for next year. So they don't incorporate that. So if you incorporate that, the 1.2 increase in our assessed value, 4.9% reduction, we're getting into like 3 to 3%. So that's what they were telling me today. So it makes everybody feel a lot.
Well, it started out, we would have been closing these doors.
Right.
The property would have been.
So from 40% down to 4%, it's everything's.
No, everything was gonna go to the county and we would have nothing, so it's.
So that's the update I have on that.
Thank you, Nathan.
Everything else has been going pretty good in the office. We've been really busy.
What exactly are you gonna give us?
Tomorrow. There's 2 emails that I got from the policies directors. And it has the exact numbers. But as far as the estimated assessed value, the next 3 years. And this percentages they gave you, there's a big long table with a lot of small numbers, but I'm gonna try to. Get it
Are you
down.
gonna distill it down?
Yeah, I'm gonna distill it, yes.
Yeah, that would be the thing.
The town is identified in those tables.
Right,
Yes.
Yeah.
The specific town clearly.
yes, I guess you guys will probably look at the same form.
And I'd like.
Yeah, we got them today.
Could you also include the last 3 years of revenue? Actuals?
Can I?
Yeah.
Sure.
So we can see what the trends are, what that impact might be just as we're trying to be good stewards and plan forward when,
Absolutely.
And then I'd like the last 3 years of appropriation totals for the. That way you can see how stable we've performed to plan. And we can see what the net revenue is gonna be changing. So I think that's the pieces that I'd like to. Thanks.
Thanks.
As the time is moving here, we're only 2 months away from budget. And that's what we're talking here, what Dan's alluding to.
Yeah.
Feeds right into our starting of the budget.
Right.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions for Nathan? Hearing none, Chris, you're up with the marshal's report.
For the month of March, we worked a total of 173 hours. We had 793 miles on Durango. 0 product hours for March at least. And just been seeing where, but We had 12 traffic violations, 0 boat violations, 0 golf cart violations. We're expecting those to probably start increasing a little bit, with warmer weather, hopefully. As far as the calls for service, we had a total of 5 for the Clear Lake Police Department. We had 1 agency assist, 1 alarm, 1 traffic offense, 1 fraud, and 1 narcotics or drug case. Sheriff's office in town had 1 criminal mischief, 1 welfare check, and 1 suspicious. And in the township of Clear Lake, they responded to 1 property that was crashed, 1 theft, 2 welfare checks, 2 domestics, 1 dog problem, and 1 unauthorized control. We are in the process of getting the boat ready for the lake season, and a service on the bicycle as well should occur here in the next week or next couple of weeks probably.
Thank you. Any questions for Chris?
No questions, just a comment, update on an action item for us. We're going to approach the Clear Lake Marina about the possibility, revisiting the possibility about having the boat parked there. It's recently came to light that the marina is now for sale. So Chris, just be aware, I'm gonna wait to see how that flushes out.
Yes, I just heard that yesterday.
And if we do get new ownership, maybe that'll be the better approach, is to go into them versus see if we can change the current owner's minds.
He's always parking in my house, if you
You just have to trailer it to the boat ramp and put it in.
No, I think my dock space.
Yeah.
So if we be, I have a dock space.
Any other questions for Chris? Okay, we'll move to the fire report. Brent?
All right. For the month of March, town of Clear Lake incidents were 5, region totals were 4. Of those 5 for the town of Clear Lake, 4 were mutual aids. I do like to highlight that, because if we're ever in a need or in a situation where we need multiple fire departments to come on site, the mutual aid goes a long way. Mutual aids in March were neutral compared to 2025 or comparing 2025 and 2024. The town of Clear Lake decreased in various calls in March. We went from 9 in 2024 to 5 this year. Clear Lake Townships, various calls increased, going from 4 in 24 to 5 in 25. Regional totals were lower, with 10 in 2025 compared to 13 in 2024. However, we did see a slight increase in total regional calls, both the Clear Lake Township and town of Clear Lake, from February to March. And I think we were given a forewarning on that I might have jinxed us, because the region totals did go up.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions for Brent on fire? Okay, hearing none, we'll now move to Tyler to the zoning report.
Yeah, nice little busier month this month. So for the month of March, we had. Yes, it is. We can't move it back.
It is on here? No, it's
Well,
not
it's
on
right
there.
here.
You'll have to watch here. He's having
Yeah,
technical
we're having
challenges
some
with
technical
that screen.
difficulties. So we did add quite a few. Most of them are right-of-way permits, but we are starting to kind of come in a lot more of the new homes. And then still, as always, the flat work and hardscape is tend to be kind of the front runner here. We are finally starting to see some of last year's projects getting closed out. That's finally coming down. And then looking forward, our last BZA meeting was canceled due to lack of business. So next meeting for that will be June 8th. And then also, Our plan commission business has kind of stayed the same, and our next meeting for that will be May 6th.
So Tyler, on the three that are borings, we shared some discussion earlier this week on that. Have we spoken to those permit holders about the requirements for depth?
We were talking that with Guy. We also might have found some other issues with that permitting process as well. I was hoping to bring that up right next Thursday, and then probably an email to come out later.
Okay, I just don't want them to complete the work and not be deep enough.
Right.
And then we run into a problem when we get there for the road.
Yeah, the only one that would have been is, the top one, and we were present for that board.
And
They were 24 to 36 inches under the road base.
Any other questions for Tyler? Hearing none, Guy, you're up with the superintendent report.
I worked a total of 168.5 hours last month. Bob worked 162.5 hours. We had 25 locates. We had 2 alarm calls. We replaced 2 grinders. We did not set any up or repair any. We have 27 grinders on hand. 15 of them are still boxed. We do not have any waiting on repair. Our average daily flow was 26,451. The sewer truck drove a total of 442 miles, and the dump truck drove 176.
Any questions for Guy? Great, good job. Now we will go to council members' reports.
I have an update on the road committee activities. First thing I'd like to lead with is that we have scheduled the Lakeview Drive post-construction review for May 7th at 5:30 p.m. It's a public meeting. This is on the calendar page of the town webpage. And there is a link posted that you can click on to get to the package. The next thing is at our last road committee meeting, we confirmed the next project to include 3 segments on South Clear Lake Drive and Outer Drive. It'll total about 0.95 miles. We'll have a full description in the post-construction review package, so I won't belabor any more description of that. And with regards to that, we were finalizing our schedule for the development of the designs and the scheduling of approval to proceed with application. That brought into the discussion a House Bill 1461, which is currently moved through the House and is in the Senate. Long story short, we believe that much of that House bill, if successful in the Senate, will make the CCMG funds more competitive during awards. In other words, there's actually more that they're trying to do with the funds. Those take effect. Those changes will take effect, we believe, on the 2026 CCMG awards. So our baseline plan was to pursue an award early next year, but we have decided to accelerate that and get the award in the second cycle of this year. So what that means is our schedule is to, first of all, close out the Lakeview Drive, which will include a KAP to API in the month of May. We'll initiate surveys for the new project in the month of May. And we're working towards a submittal of a application in the July timeframe with an award in November. So we have a lot of steps, as you know, in our road project process. We have preliminary designs, we have intermediate designs, we have final designs. All of those will be moving forward on pretty much a monthly cadence. So we'll be having a lot of public meetings to discuss the design reviews, but I'm assured by Todd Thurber from DLZ that he's up to the challenge. So we think this is doable. It will also mean probably a need for an additional appropriation for engineering services, because the way the current budget is laid out, we have a final design review expense in the month of January for our whole process. So we'll move that forward. Any questions?
Dan, just so I understand, Dan, the survey and pre-work that we're doing is driving towards a 2026 road construction, if I have the year right.
Yeah, the actual, the award will be in November, the construction will be in spring, late next year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought that was the case. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Now, and if we as council need to add a special meeting, just let us know so Nathan has time to get that on. Because I know Ty, you're really good about watching the dates, but please let us know, because when Nathan and I look for the executive session, it's taken the paper 3 days to even take what we send. And I know it's still hasn't changed. Our legislators haven't changed that yet. So just watch our calendar. If we need to add a special meeting, let us know.
So I would like to say thanks to the road committee members. They're working hard in the background to make sure all of this is staying on track and mitigating risk. This was a new one for us with the House bill.
That's great. Thank you all. Any other council reports? George?
I'll just give a quick update on uniforms. I think everybody got a copy of the final draft from the HR consultant. I just checked my email. I said I've heard back from the key players here, and I think everybody else is aware of what's going on. So hopefully that'll be on the May agenda and get that passed.
Excellent, thanks.
Okay.
Bert, anything?
Yeah, we just continue to work on a continuity of operations plan. We've had some good discussions around some of the areas of risk and, you know, people engaged. More to be done and more to talk about in future.
Great, thank you. Bert, anything?
General discussion.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know, as I think Guy and Nathan have mentioned, Bob Bates did resign from the town of Clear Lake earlier this month. So just FYI on that. We will now go to general discussion. So I think first, if we can open it up to those on Zoom, since they have been patient. So I don't know if
I think Bob,
Are they all up?
Jim is still there.
if Jim doesn't have anything to say, then we'll open it up to.
This is Brent, and this question kind of pertains more towards Tyler and Dan. With the new fee schedule that was approved, it was discussed in the past that should the town be responsible for the need for one of these various items that were increased, that fee would be waived. So that was discussed in the meetings. It was acknowledged in the meetings. My question to you guys is, what sort of process do we have in place? What would be checked off where the town would be responsible for those? Because there was no verbiage in the ordinance referencing any of that.
You have a specific, anything more specific? You're saying that there would be a change in the fee schedule and put the burden.
It was, yes, and that was clearly stated, if there was an error that the town made that would cause the need for a variance hearing or for anything along those lines that's associated to the fees that were updated, that the town would be waiving those fees for the residents. There's no
Do you
verbiage,
have anything?
there's no verbiage in the
No,
ordinance.
It would be
There's
a
no
council,
outline.
it would be a council decision.
Yeah, I do
Tyler
believe
would
this
have to
would
bring
be-
it to council and we would have to approve the fee, payment of the fee. Or reimbursement, or whatever the case may be.
I do believe that's kind of where we had originally talked about that. Afterwards, it would have to still be a council process.
Anybody else, general discussion, audience? Yes, Abby, go ahead.
I have two questions. This, I just want to know how many people are getting reach alerts that do not apply to us? They apply to the town of Fremont, like for turning their water on and off? Or their trash cans?
No, you know what, I mean, maybe what, if you've got something signed up, what I would encourage you to do is come in with, and talk to Jen.
Okay,
And, cause maybe there's something as you signed up for Reach Alert,
that I signed up
that you
on.
signed up, maybe there's one for like the township versus the town, I don't know. But I'm sure Jen can help you with that one,
Okay,
cause that's, I don't think
Yeah, it
anybody.
sounds like the town of Fremont Reach Alert. I was signed up for that initially and I was able to turn it off.
how did you get it turned off?
That's a good question. I would follow in the first recommendation, see Jen.
See Jen will be.
If you're getting Fremont, chances are you somehow turn Fremont on.
Okay,
Yeah, you get all sorts of stuff.
I know, one time I was talking to Brent and I said, no, he said, do you have to get that? I said, no. It's reach alert. It was like the third time in what, 5 minutes?
Oh my goodness.
I'll say there was a day they were turning water on and off like there was no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get it, I was seeing, regular updates about it, but yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, just have Jen help you with that.
Okay, I will.
If she
At the
can-
bottom of the reach alert, you should know, it says reply stop to opt out, so just type in stop and send it back and she didn't get all.
But I want to still get the reach alerts for here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, she's getting two alerts, she's getting,
That's
it
weird.
sounds like Fremont and Clear Lake.
Yes.
And maybe what you might have to just completely opt out and start
Okay.
over, but Jen can.
I'll come in and have Jen
Yeah,
help me.
she's
Okay.
very good at that.
My other comment is on Clear Lake Cove. There are two splits in the road, and I think this might be from where they came in and repatched or resealed or changed something. But one of them is kind of significant up at the top of the road. Because my granddaughter's allowed to ride her bike from crack to crack. But with the change of season and the raining, all that stuff, I think it's gotten worse.
I'm guessing it's where we watch the road at, right there in front of Coles, right?
In front of, that's not the worst spot. The worst spot is up by Dean Day. It's, and I don't know if it started, did you have to come back in and repave something there?
Oh, my Coles,
Yeah, Coles, yes.
Up in the front. I have noticed it, I guess.
But would you be willing to go check it
I
out?
will check it out. If
And
it-
call Todd?
if there's a crack there, we've been putting crack seal in, so we'll seal them and,
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Guy.
well, Scarlett's gonna take a piece of chalk and write, no.
Oh. Any other, yes, Cindy?
I have a question. I was going through getting ready to, bring my money over for my golf cart registration. And I'm reading all the do's and don'ts and whatever, and it's that, and I called Jen. You have to have my vision is a red light, something.
Triangle.
But if you have, no, I've got a triangle, but an additional light.
So depends on the golf cart, how new it is or how old it is. There has to be some sort of light an amber light or something on the back of the golf cart.
So do taillights count?
Taillights will count.
Oh,
So when that ordinance was originally written, most golf carts did not have headlights and taillights and such. Now, majority of them do, so as long as there's visibility of light on them, that meets the ordinance. So if it doesn't have lights on the back, then yes, you have to have some sort of light added to it.
As we were chatting, you said, well, I don't think they're gonna pull you over, and I said. Did you after TGIF? Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Tom?
Just following up on what Dan said, yeah, and based on how that January application went, they shortened, which is good, they shortened the award timeline, so you know sooner. However, that shortens our design timeline, so, you know, in the road committee discussion, we had that, I brought that up as it gets condensed down a lot, so just so everybody's aware, it's just on a quicker timeline. And, but. it's
Well, we'll
certainly-
trust you to watch the calendar, and that's why I said, if we have to add a special meeting, just know we can't do it in 2 days.
Yep,
And then even though all of that is accelerated, it sounds like the actual paving would still happen in the fall like it has in the past.
yeah, that's kind of, yeah, so
Yes.
normally, yeah, we wouldn't be bidding out till. We wouldn't get a notice of award until November, December, after that July application. Well, and then bid. In February or March, well, now it's, yeah, shrink that all up at the end of the year, but we still have that. Basically 2 years from the application deadline to close it out, so we could still fit that same construction timeline. Cause we talked about trying to bump it up to the spring, but with how the weather is, spring's more unpredictable in the fall, so.
And then the traffic would,
Yeah.
great.
That's one question, Guy. We need some dirt for the spots where people seem to think is a road, but it's not.
We're working on that right now.
Like, there's probably, what, Chris, at least half a dozen?
I know, I told the guys to stay off of the side of the road to run traffic until it firms up. It is really soft.
Thank you.
No, that's good.
Yeah, but there's definitely some sections over there that have, some people that are just not quite sure where the road is.
I bet there's even full spots where it's deliberate.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
We do have our final walkthrough scheduled for Friday, so.
I just have a question.
Yes.
Is there anything that can be done about the sod that's been pushed out of place along Lakeview? There's big chunks that are.
That has all happened in the last 5 days because I went through and laid it all back down. And somebody has drove off the road in the last 5 days again.
No, I don't think so. I think some of this has been there, even maybe before the snow came.
I think it's always, they're gonna roll it.
I went through a week and a half, 2 weeks ago and put everything back. And then somebody has drove through it again. Since, well, I tried moving it Friday and I could not move it because it was just slime in my hands. So.
There's a couple of places. One was by Kramer's. I don't know if you got that. Their old place on Round Lake. There's one up by, sort of by.
That one just happened by Hardwick on the curve.
And there's one up by Wamshires.
That one did happen. That was not there Friday morning when I drove around, and Friday afternoon it showed up.
And continue your efforts there.
Chris, do we have the authority to put stakes on the tape along the sides of the road?
Be up to Guy, I think, because
But I just didn't I didn't know if there was.
I don't think there's anything like state statute that would have that, couldn't do it. As long as it didn't interfere with the roadway. That'd be the same thing like just putting up the snow fencing stripes. So. I don't know if Guy wants to put all those up or not.
I would caution you hesitate though. Because on the first good wind you get, that's going to be gone in somebody's yard
Yeah,
or trees. You name it.
yeah, I trust Guy to be the right. But, it's a recurring problem. Trying to do something maybe more visual to make people aware that they're getting.
Raise your blades on the side of the fence post.
We cannot do anything that will damage vehicles.
It's more.
They say off the grass, they won't damage their vehicle.
Or what's your choice?
Any other questions, comments?
Motion
Here,
to adjourn.
8:15, motion to adjourn. We have a motion. Can I have a second?
Or I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Thank you, everybody.